Good afternoon, viewers, and good afternoon, Phoebe, to another Saturday afternoon, gloomy Melbourne weather. Best opportunity to catch up for a cup of coffee, and
Indeed.
did, and discuss various things about life and how we're going and what's next in our ventures. Phoebe, tell me about yourself. What are you up to the last 2 days?
Well, Con, it's definitely been a very busy or frantic week with a short week due to the public holiday that we've just had. We've
Easter break, yes, of
had
course.
a really great Easter. Had a beautiful staycation actually with my partner, which was nice, and enjoying Melbourne and the Melbourne city. What about you?
Oh, look, ours was a very quiet affair, family time, quality time, of course, and time to reflect, time to sit back and see what actually has happened in the first quarter of the year, and looking much forward to the next quarter of the year. And hopefully it will be completely different from last year. We went through all this circus, as I call it. But what actually I want to talk to you about, and something that came to my mind through my research, is that I believe that you are now a plant-based eater.
Oh, well, yeah, yes. How did you know?
Well, I did my research, and it's a book I believe you read, and you base your new diet upon. Just part of my ignorance, what is a plant-based diet?
Great question. So this book, I'm actually still getting through this book. I'm not going to say I've read it completely, but a plant-based diet is very similar to a vegetarian vegan diet, with probably, I would say, less restrictions. So a plant-based diet predominantly is where you eat, non-animal products. So,
Okay.
Lots of vegetables, lots of plant proteins, lots of seeds and nuts, and less of the like dairy and meat products.
Just a bit of confusion. I mean, vegan, plant-based, vegetarian, all these new, well, in my vocabulary, new words on the diet system comes along. I'm so confused. What's the difference between vegan and plant-based, like you may say?
Well, a vegan is someone that, I guess, like, it reflects entirely in their lifestyle. So vegans don't. It's very tough, and I've definitely tried it, and it can be very tough. But vegans basically choose not to have any animal products in their life at all. So no leather handbags, leather belts, anything that is that contains like dairy or eggs or even honey. So it is much more strict. A plant-based lifestyle is kind of aiming towards that vegan lifestyle, but just a little less restrictive. So, every now and then, you might squeeze in like, some egg if there's no other options out there, or, something that, yeah.
Tell me, how many years will it take to read this book?
Oh, depends on your rate of reading, Con. I would say, if you're going to sit there and read it from cover to cover, it might take some people a month.
Wow.
Might take some people a year.
Couple of years, in my case.
So, Con, I have heard, funnily enough, we're speaking about food, we're speaking about plant-based. I heard that your favorite or your first book is actually Animal Farm.
Oh my
God. I actually selected this for you from the show.
Animal Farm. Wow. Well, George Orwell. It was one of my original books that I read back in year 8, I think it was. And
Wow.
I tell you what, it took me a few months to read the whole book here. And look, I can tell you one thing that actually it's even written here, and actually 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
So what is the concept of Animal Farm? I mean, I read it too in high school, but refresh my memory. Was talking about humans and...
Look, I mean, if we put in a very plain, basic concept, it's about society and the hierarchies of different society, different categories of people, well, poor people, rich people, middle class, lower class, and so on. But also it goes more deeper than that. I think it can be tried the concept of what are you preparing to do with your life and which direction you want to go to. It's also about choices in life too. And don't become a follower. You can create a leadership through your own personal as well. So amazing book, guys. If you haven't read this one here, it is a must.
Well, I actually heard that you've got another favorite book.
Oh no, are you bringing back all my history book? Oh my God.
What is this?
1984. 1984.
Tell me about 1984.
Do you know this book here? Also, by the way, it's George Orwell as well. An amazing book. Highly recommend that one. Big Brother was a concept back in the early, 70s, late 80s, I think, and everybody was how, let's call it, very beware, like, the cameras watching you, and, what people, that people can see what you're doing. And almost 30, 40 years later, if you look around, we've been covered with surveillances, cameras, and people know what we're doing. Like, even, for example, your device, your iPhone, for argument's sake, that
it's always listening.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I mean, how things have changed, that from a little, let's call it, kids book with a very, very big message that can actually transform to adulthood. Highly recommend, guys, especially if you are early years of high school. It is a must. But talking about my books, my George Orwell's double, you might say, I know also that I, through my own little research, I also know that this particular book is one of your favorite books. Tell us about this particular book. This is marketing from Seth Godin. I mean, what's it all about?
Okay, look, Seth Godin is one of my favorites. Like, have you read his blogs?
I must say, I've seen a couple of his YouTubes, but not actually a book like this. But definitely, now that you recommend it, definitely will be a must.
Seth Godin is incredible. And I must say that this book will inspire any marketer out there. And you don't have to be a marketer. You can, just like yourself, Con, whether you're in business or whether you're just wanting to be seen, be heard, rise up, and I guess cut through the noise. This is the book. This is a book about how to be seen, how to stand out. And it's about what marketing really is. So as an example, relationships, like we were talking earlier about how people buy from people, not just people that they like. And social media can be great to be liked, but people buy from people that they trust. So highly recommend.
I mean, this word marketing has been thrown all over for the last decade or so. Let's go back a step. What is marketing? What is marketing? Can you just tell me in a very plain English format that if you can explain to our viewers what does it actually mean, marketing?
Look, I really think that marketing is a process that is about getting someone who doesn't know you from not knowing you, not having awareness of you, your brand, your business, to liking you and then trusting you and then eventually buying from you. So marketing is not about social media, and marketing is not about what's going on the billboards or even the shop front. Marketing is the process. It's the journey that you take someone through.
So it can be marketing your own brand, who you are. I mean, like Nichols can be a brand itself, like or Phoebe Lee and so on. A life, so big part. And the whole thing is, what I'm trying to say is that I believe also people have misinterpreted the word marketing into only business sense, where, like you said, now marketing can also be implemented into the normal everyday social life.
Definitely.
But I tell you what, since we talk about marketing, I'm just going to go a step further. And there's another book that actually I've done a bit of research on. And
oh, it's Melissa Ambrosini. I love her so much.
Tell me about Melissa Ambrosini. I must say, I've read a couple of her chapters. This particular book, it's
Have you heard her podcast?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you've got to go there. You've got to go there.
On a nutshell, what's all about? What's Melissa's all about?
Melissa Ambrosini covers a lot. Her and her husband, Nick Broadhurst, they cover everything from like health, love, relationships to like how to have children and happy children, to spirituality, to everything. But this book, the reason I love this book, and this kind of changed my life a few years ago, is it talks about mastering your inner mean girl. Now, Con, before you look through the book, can I ask you,
Certainly.
do you have an inner voice, an inner, just like a self-talk, an inner voice?
I think we all have.
Okay. So my next question is, what percentage do you think of your inner voice is positive and friendly and encouraging?
My inner voice is always very friendly to me. And I think your inner voice can also be interpreted in many, many ways. It's how you educate your inner voice. It comes down to your personality. Who are you as a person? Are you a positive person? Are you negative, pessimistic in life? Or are you actually looking things on a bright side? You know what I mean? In my case, I always believe that life is definitely a journey. Difficult sometimes in a lot of people, but however, it's also how you project life as well. I mean, let's face it. Doesn't matter what you do in life, doesn't matter what thrives you, you gotta be able to combat that. Go over the hill and keep going, because life was not meant to be easy. It's not cliche. So I think it's up to the individual person to somehow put it together and bring the inner body self in a positive way. What about yourself?
Look, I think that the inner voice, it can be both. It can be very positive and inspiring and, motivating, things like that. But it can also be very critical. And
Critical, okay.
A little bit of background. I grew up with a very, very harsh mother who I call the tiger mother.
Wow.
And growing up with a Chinese mom who's very, very, like our family, where I guess the women in our household are very
Dominant.
Yeah, and also successful, like my grandma as well, and especially because my grandma is a perfectionist. She is one of the best Chinese calligraphers in China back in the day before she came to Australia. She was the first woman in Guangzhou to be seen, and she really, I guess, broke the status quo for women.
And because in those days as well, it was very, very secluded.
And in art as well, like art after communism, was pretty much very dulled and quieted down and hidden. And so my grandma kind of, she was one of the first in her cohort, and the first female as well to really make it and be seen. And so I guess I had a very harsh inner voice growing up because my mum and my grandma always wanted the best for me, and they were very critical.
So they influenced your life in a sense?
Yeah, and I think that there was a lot of, I guess, striving for perfection or more, or always improving and being better. So that book I actually really love that book because Melissa Ambrosini talks about your inner voice as your mean girl. And she stands for women to stand up to their inner mean girl and to actually ignore the self-doubt, the self-criticism, or the harsh inner voice that sometimes overbears a lot of women. And so that book, it's a must read. It's a very good book.
Look, I'm sure, we all, like I said before, your mom or your grandmom had a huge impact in your life, and the way it comes across also that tradition also play a big role on your establishment who you are as a person. And what I tell you what, I would love to check your grandma and listen to her journey and to go back in years and tell us the why was done back then.
Oh, well, you should read her book.
Oh, she's got a book out?
Oh, she's got several.
Yeah. Oh, well, please tell us about it.
Yeah. I think that's something that we need to translate very soon because, it's definitely going to be passed down to many generations. And she's very inspiring with her volunteering work and the way she, came to Australia and had to start again, like you.
Yep.
Had to go from, being very well known to starting again. And she pretty much gives her time to teach people and pass down her art and her calligraphy, which is a huge part of our culture. So
tell me, how old is Grandma?
Grandma's 81.
Beautiful. Do you want to say something in Chinese and say, your thank you to Grandma, and maybe when she sees this, you can...
你好婆婆，多謝.
Wonderful.
So Con, there's another book
oh wow,
that funnily enough I'm also reading as well, and it's
Wow.
Like a Monk.
Yeah, look,
How good is it?
it's amazing book. I was given this on my birthday on Valentine's, 14th of Feb.
Oh, there you go.
And it's amazing that this young man, the transformation that he made from literally almost from A to Z, and a journey that he took, there was an unknown journey. You know, he never knew what was going to happen and so on. But what I also have learned, I'm still reading the book, by the way, what I'm also learning is that determination, courage, and believing your dreams will always surpass anything else in your life.
Definitely. Absolutely. And what's been your favorite takeaway from the book so far?
I think the transformation that nothing is impossible. I mean, if you put your mind into it and you believe who you are as a person, and you believe in your ability, and also self-love, it's very, very crucial. And we keep forgetting that a lot of people, they live the life for someone else. Live your life for who you are. Live life for yourself. And self-love means in a lot of ways, a lot of interpretation, a lot of people. But once again, highly recommend this book. And yeah, look, you know, I love to tell you a lot more when I finish the book, and maybe personally has helped me a lot through my journey. And once again, like we all know, we all say, you need to educate yourself on a daily basis, either through the book, by teaching yourself, or listening to blogs or podcasts, or whatever may be the case in everybody's case. Learning is power. And we all know knowledge and power, those things go hand in hand.
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned self-love, because in the Mastering Your Inner Mean Girl book, there's actually a chapter about self-love as well. And it talks about how you need to have a list, and it gets you to, there are lots of great exercises in here. And there's one exercise where we actually need to list out what our self-love tools are, so that in the moments where we are maybe overworked or tired, and we're kind of like, our tank is a bit low, we can go back to that list, that checklist, and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to tonight take a bath, a warm bath, or grab a cup of tea and watch the sunset. So it's, yeah.
Awesome.
I feel like the two books are quite similar in a way.
Well, you know, I mean, this is my next book, by the way, so definitely.
You definitely need to master your inner mean girl, or do you? But
look, I've got a few girls at home, so definitely that will help me.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me about this. I caught you reading this before. And
look,
yeah.
I am a frustrated chef, you might say, in a sense. I love cooking. I love baking. To me, cooking is my outlet, my relaxation, in a sense that, like, for example, like, you know, it gives me a different prospect in life, and I love to create things as well. And I think, you know, it's all about, Phoebe. People say cooking is terrible, you know, I don't want to get things together, but you know what? It teaches you two things I've realized in my life. It teaches you discipline to follow a recipe, in a sense, but also it gives you your creativity point of mind to create something unique, something you love. And also, how good would it be that when you cook something and you serve to your guests or to your family, and they enjoy a beautiful cooked meal? You know, I mean, nothing beats that. So
made with love.
Definitely, look, you know, cooking with love, it's unreal. Try it, guys. I'm telling you. I mean, I've got a lot of special recipes and favorite recipes as well, from ossobuco to making cheesecake or making baking and so on. But artisan kitchen is something that it's always been around for many, many, many years. Even artisan water and artisan coffee and all those things as well. And it's more another word for organic, if it makes any sense. So do you like cooking, Phoebe?
I actually really enjoy it myself. I grew up where my mum and my grandma were very, very passionate about food, especially because they're from the food capital of China. So, Colin, if you ever go to China, there is a saying, you want to eat in Guangzhou, right?
Wow.
So you want to live in Hangzhou because of the beauty of it. You want to be born in Suzhou because the women in Suzhou are very, very beautiful. And there's another place that escapes me, but they make very, very good wood and coffins.
Wow.
So they say you want
It's a
to die,
must.
you want to die there.
By the way, talking about, so what's the, let's call it the three main known dishes in Beijing that you must have when
In
you get
Guangzhou?
Guangzhou, sorry.
Oh, I think it's not so much the dishes, it's more the yum cha
The yum cha.
over there is
Wh-
very,
what
very
is yum
good.
cha? For our viewers, what is yum cha?
Well, yum cha is like having like dim sums, like small snacks,
Okay.
but you have it around like lunch or early morning, so
Okay.
like around brunch kind
Right.
of
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
And you usually have like small like snacks, small dishes or dim sums, but they're very delicate,
Oh,
very,
wow.
very delicate. And the
So you get all the
flavors are-
varieties of various foods, and it's like
Yes.
a taste plate. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
And
that's a must.
and obviously tea is very important to them. At the
Oh
moment.
yeah, tea all over China is important.
But I also heard that coffee's taking over in China too.
Oh, it's got some time to go, but it is definitely being introduced in China.
Phoebe, look, what an amazing afternoon. And I think my coffee's gone. And, when I say when your coffee's, we haven't had yours yet, but but once again, look, for everybody out there, if you got any questions or you want any books for us to go through and have a look, or any personal things you might require, if it's personal, social media or business, please let us know. It's a very informal way that we talk with Phoebe here. Remember, we're not professionals, so it's, we're not TV hosts, things like that. This is just for fun and for you guys out there.
Thank you so much for your time, Con, and so good to see you and catch up with you.
Definitely. And for everybody down there, have a great weekend.
Speak to you guys soon.